Hello, my name is Madeline, and welcome to this Yin Yoga class for gratitude. So it's Thanksgiving time here in the United States, so happy Thanksgiving if you're celebrating. And yeah, during the holidays, it's always good to find some time to rest, find some time for gratitude. So maybe try to think of something you're grateful for throughout this practice, and it'll be a pretty gentle practice where we hold poses from 2 to 5 minutes, probably on the lower end. And yeah, let's get right into it. Let's start with some breath. We'll do a little bit of box breathing, which is where you inhale for a count of 4, you hold your breath at the top for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 4, and then hold at the bottom for a count of 4. So you can inhale through the nose, 2, 3, 4, hold at the top, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the bottom, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the top, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the bottom, 2, 3, 4, and just do a couple more rounds of those at your own pace. And just do one more round here. There's no rush. And return back to your regular breath whenever you're ready. And we'll do a tiny bit of movement before getting into our yin poses. We'll do some seated cat-cows and bring the hands to the knees. And as you inhale, begin to arch the spine forward, looking up. And then round the back as you exhale. And you can continue like this or take any kind of movement that feels good in the body. So maybe taking some circles. Just listening to whatever feels good and feeling grateful that you're taking this time for yourself. Grateful that you're able to move and stretch. And let's take a couple more breaths here in this movement. And then return back to center whenever you're ready. And we'll get into our first yin pose, which will be a child's pose. So you can come onto hands and knees, bring the feet together, and then spread those knees wide on the mat. And then sink back towards your feet. Let the arms extend out long. They can be relaxed. There's no need to stretch super hard. Maybe bend at the elbows a little bit. Option here, if you want some more of a shoulder opening, you can bring the hands together in a prayer position above the head. Only if that feels good. So just choosing a variation that feels best for you. This prayer position is really a symbol of gratitude. So wherever you are, just breathe deeply and settle in. Remember to keep breathing deeply. And let's take a few more deep breaths here. Take one last deep breath. If your hands are in prayer position, begin to let that go. And then start to press back up onto those hands, taking your time. And come forward into a tabletop position. And once you're in tabletop, you can take some cat-cows here. You can take any kind of movement that feels good. Again, just trying to listen to your body. Take one more breath in your movement. And then we'll return back to that neutral tabletop and come into a melting heart pose. So if you have a blanket and you have sensitive knees, you can place the blanket underneath the knees and try to keep knees and hips in one line here. And start to walk those hands towards the top of the mat. Option to grip the top of the mat with your fingertips if that feels good. And start to draw the chest down towards the mat. Maybe forehead touches the mat. If you feel any pain, tingling in the arms, you can always spread the arms wider across the mat as well. So really getting into the shoulders, that upper back. Should feel like a really nice opening, but can also be intense. And know if you're ever in any pain, there's no pressure. You can always come out of the pose. Just listen to your body. And let's take a few more breaths here. Take one last deep breath, and staying low to the ground, begin to slide back again into your child's pose, but this time bringing the knees together and extending those arms back out behind you for a closed leg child's pose. Option here to rock the forehead a little side to side on the mat, tapping into that third eye space. Just really try to let those arms relax. We'll stay here for a few moments, absorbing the effects of the pose on the body. Let's take one more breath here. And then slowly start to roll back up, pressing up onto those hands. There's no rush. And we'll come back into that tabletop position again. You can take any movement if you like, just for a breath. And from here, we're going to come into a deer pose. So you can start to slide that left shin up and try to bring that left shin parallel with the top of the mat. And then that right shin is going to come all the way down alongside of the mat. So you kind of have these two triangles here. If you have a block, you might want to grab it to place the forehead on. And you can stay upright like this, or if you want some more, start to fold forward over that left shin, placing the head on a block or the floor, or the head will just hold itself. Melting into this deer. You can try to bring the right knee in line with the right hip too, if that feels good. Maybe try to come back to that intention of gratitude, thinking of what you're grateful for. You can add on to whatever it was you thought about in the beginning. And let's take one more deep breath here. And then slowly start to press back up onto the hands, no rush. That can feel like a really relaxing pose. You can start to swing that right leg around this time, and we're just going to come right into the other side. You can shake the legs out a little actually if that feels good before moving into the right side. So whenever you're ready, start to draw that right shin in line with the top of the mat, and that left shin will come down along the sides of the mat. You can line it up with your left hip if that feels good. It's up to you. You can bring your block in front of you once again if you liked using it on the other side. And then start to fold forward over the right shin. Head comes to a block, the mat, or just the space in front of you. And notice the difference between the two sides. And start to settle in. And take one more deep breath here. And then slowly start to press back up onto the hands. Take your time. You can remove any props and just release in that left leg. You can extend those legs out long, shaking them a little bit if that feels nice. And then from here, you're going to keep those legs extending out long. And we're going to come into a caterpillar pose. So you can bend the knees as much as you like here. And then start to reach the arms up to the sky and fold forward over those legs. And again, remember, you can bend the knees as much as you like. The more you bend your knees, the more of a lower back release it'll be. So it's up to you. Straight legs is more of a hamstring release. So just choosing whatever feels right today. And try to let the spine soften and round. Try to let that head drop, let go of any tension. And let's take a couple more deep breaths here. Take one last breath and then slowly start to roll back up. There's no rush. And from here, we'll actually come all the way down onto our backs. You can hug the knees into the chest and rock those knees from side to side. Just releasing that back again. And from here, we're going to come into a single leg twist. If a double leg twist feels better, you can go for that. But we will hug that left knee into the chest and then extend that right leg out long. And start to draw that left knee over to the right. And reach that left arm out into a T shape or a cactus shape. Trying to get that right shoulder or left shoulder to be pressing down on the mat. You could always come into a double leg twist with the knees together if that feels better in the body, or any twist variation that you feel like today. Wherever you are, just try to send that breath into the spine. Twisting is very detoxifying, so maybe thinking of something you like to let go of. Remember that deep breathing. And let's take a couple more breaths here. Take one more deep breath and slowly start to draw that left knee back in. The right leg can meet the left. You can rock a couple times side to side. And then we'll get right into that other side here. So this time we'll hug the right knee into the chest, extend that left leg out long. Hold here for 1 moment. And then start to draw that right knee over to the left and reach that left arm out into a T shape or cactus shape. Again, you can take any variation that feels good, maybe a double leg twist or any other kind of twist you want to do. And again, try to get that right shoulder pressing down on the mat if possible, and breathe into the spine. And let's take a couple more deep breaths here. Take one last breath, and then start to draw the right knee back into the chest. You can let that left knee join it as well. Maybe rock a little side to side. And we're going to come back up onto our hands and knees. So you can either rock back and forth, up and down the mat, or you can just press up in any way that feels best for you. And once we're back in our tabletop, we're actually going to come into a sleeping swan or a pigeon pose. So kind of similar to that deer pose. We're going to draw that left shin up so that left knee is in line with left wrist, left ankle in line with right wrist, and that left shin is parallel with the top of the mat, and right leg is extending out long. And so let's stay upright here for one breath. If there's space between that left hip and the mat, you can always place a blanket, bolster, block underneath there. And whenever you're ready, start to fold forward over that left shin. And if sleeping swan doesn't feel good in your body, you can always come onto your back into a figure four reclining pigeon position. So if you want to go for that, your left ankle will be on top of that right thigh, and then you'll just be hugging that into the chest. So either variation is great. You're getting into the same area. So find your variation and then start to melt into the pose. Really breathing deeply. If you're in sleeping swan, you can place any props in front of you to rest the body or the head on. And let's take a couple more deep breaths here. Take one more breath and then slowly start to rise up. If you're in sleeping swan, if you're in figure four, Just let go, release that leg. Then in sleeping swan, we'll press back into a downward dog. Just briefly, maybe pedaling out the feet here, if that feels good. And we'll come into sleeping swan on the other side from downward dog. So start to draw that right knee into the right wrist, right ankle to left wrist. So right shin is parallel with the top of the mat. Again, you can place a block, blanket, any prop if there's any space in between that right hip and the mat. Stay upright for a moment. And then start to fold forward over that right shin. If you're in figure 4, then right ankle will be on top of left thigh. You can always do a different variation than you did on the other side. The body is typically very uneven, asymmetrical, so no worries if it feels different than it did on the other side. And let's take a couple more deep breaths here. Take one more deep breath. If you're in sleeping swan, start to press up onto those hands. And then this time we'll just lean over to the right and slide that left leg back out in front of you. Again, be gentle here, there's no rush. Right leg can come out to meet the left. Maybe you want to shake those legs out a little bit or go for a couple of windshield wipers. It's up to you. Then whenever you're ready, we'll come all the way back down onto our backs and the feet will be planted down on the mat. We're going to come into a supported bridge. If you don't have a block, you can start to knock the knees together and then keep the feet wide on the mat. If you do have a block, you're going to want to grab that. You can always use a book or anything block like that would feel comfortable for you. And we're going to start on the lowest setting here. And then start to lift those hips up and slide the block underneath the sacrum, the tailbone area. So making sure it's not on the low back, making sure you're comfortable here. You can stay like this. This is great. If you want some more opening in the front of the hips, you can start to extend those legs out long, only if it feels good. And if you want some more opening in the upper body, the chest, you can reach the arms up above you and take hold of opposite elbows. So really getting a stretch across the whole front side of the body. And really try to let that body relax. Let those legs relax. And just drape out to the sides. And you can always adjust the height of the block to whatever feels good, but no, you're going to be staying here for around 3 minutes or so, so choosing a place that feels comfortable and sustainable. Keep breathing here. And let's take a couple more deep breaths here. And then slowly, if the legs are extended out long, begin to draw them back in, feet planting on the mat. You can let go of opposite elbows, bring the arms back down to your sides. Then whenever you're ready, really gently here, start to lift those hips back up and just slide the block out from underneath you. And bring the back down to the mat. Let's hug the knees into the chest. You can just stay still like this, elongating that spine after the back bend. You can rock a little side to side if that feels good. And then we'll extend those legs back out long. We're going to come into a banana asana. So you can reach the arms up above the head. And then shift the hips a little over to the left and start to walk the feet over to the lower right corner of the mat. So you're keeping both hip points down on the mat. And then walking the upper body over to the upper right corner of the mat. So you're in this banana-like shape, like a crescent. And if you want a little more, you can cross left ankle over the right. Maybe grab hold of the left wrist with the right hand. Option to take opposite elbows instead, or go for any arm variation that feels best in your body. And send the breath all the way along that left side body. It should feel really nice. Keep sending the breath into the left side body. Maybe think of another thing that you're grateful for. And let's take a few more breaths here. Take one last deep breath. And if the ankles are crossed, begin to uncross them, let go of that wrist, and then draw the body slowly back to center. We'll pause at center just for a couple moments. You can bring the arms back down to your sides. Just notice the difference between the right and the left, how your body is feeling, how the mind is feeling. And then whenever you're ready, we'll come into that second side. This time shifting hips a little over to the right. Reach the arms up above you. And walk those feet towards the lower left corner of the mat and the upper body over to the upper left corner of the mat. Option again to cross right ankle over left. Maybe grab hold of right wrist with the left hand. So you're in that banana leg shape. And then send the breath all the way up and down that right side body. And let's take a few more breaths here. Take one last deep breath. And if the ankles are crossed, beginning to uncross them, let go of the wrist, and slowly draw that body back to center. Let the arms drape down to the sides. And from here, you can just come right into your Shavasana. If you want to take any final movement or poses, you can go for that. Maybe taking a happy baby or a snail. It's up to you. And whenever you're ready, there's no rush. You can extend the legs out long. Come all the way down onto your back. Let the arms drape out to the sides for your final resting pose, Shavasana. And we'll be here for a couple minutes, so the video hasn't ended. I'll speak again when our resting period is over. And if you have the time, I encourage you to stay in this Shavasana for as long as you like. If you have to get going, we'll close with one final breath. You can exhale the air out now. Take a deep inhale through the nose, and then a big sigh out the mouth. And thank you so much for practicing with me. I hope you can bring some gratitude into the rest of your day. And if you'd like to see more Yin Yoga classes like this, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you again next time.